Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a psychological thriller series called You from 2018. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. In the first episode, we see the bookstore clerk Joe meeting Guinevere for the first time when she comes to the store. He is intrigued by her and is observing her every move. Guinevere comes up to him, asking for help to find the author Paula Fox's books. He takes her to the celebrity author corner where Paula's books are. While they're chatting, Joe shows her a man who is buying Dan Brown's book, but he might seem immature to only buy this book, so he's looking for something serious to buy with it so that he seems more respectable. Joe and Guinevere laugh about this when Joe notices that she's not wearing a bra. He feels like she's trying to make a move on him. The man from before calls Joe to the register, and he leaves. After the man leaves, Guinevere comes to check out. She has chosen to buy the book that Joe recommended. She also tells him her name. Guinevere is a bit uncommon, so everyone calls her Beck. Joe also introduces himself. After she leaves, Joe is just obsessing over her, staring at her leaving the place, thinking whether she's like others or different. The scene changes to Joe coming back home. His neighbors downstairs are Ron and Claudia, who always seem to be fighting. Claudia's son is sitting in front of Joe's apartment, reading a book. Joe greets him, and they share some small talk. Joe gives him the food he brought to eat, assuming the little boy might be hungry. Joe goes inside his apartment and fixes something to eat for himself. He then sits down in front of his laptop and starts stalking Beck online. All of her profiles are public, so he takes it as a yes sign that she wants to be stalked. Beck's parents are divorced, and she has one brother and one sister. She studied at Brown and later in NYC. Beck posts every little thing of her life on Instagram, and she even posted the picture of the book she got. Joe got a bit hurt because she didn't mention him in the post. Joe even manages to get her address plus her work schedule. The next day, he goes in front of Beck's house and watches her. She is working as a yoga instructor and also takes classes at the university. She takes the yoga class at 6:30, and by 10 a.m. she has to be at the university. After she's done with the class, she comes up to Professor Paul, who clearly wants to take her to bed, and she's making him think that one day he might. After that, she is on her way to her favorite cafe to do some writing when she gets texts from her wealthy friends arranging their meetup at night. Joe also follows them inside the restaurant they meet at. It's one of Beck's friends' birthdays. She gifts her friend a very expensive scarf. After celebrating her birthday, they decide to go to another bar where they'll stay until 5 a.m. But Beck has work to do, so she can't go with them. One of her friends, Peach, stays behind to chat with Beck. She asks her how she managed to buy the scarf because it was very expensive. Peach warns her against trying so hard to please those girls when she's broke. She also tells Beck to borrow some money from her. Beck tries to avoid the discussion, but Peach knows the truth. Anyway, after some talking, Peach leaves the restaurant to join the other friends. The scene changes to Beck coming back home, and Joe is stalking her while standing on the other side of the road. A man arrives in front of Beck's house. Beck and the man, Benji, who seems to be Beck's on and off boyfriend, start fighting because Beck's friend saw him cheating on her at the party Beck took him to. Benji tries to convince her, saying he was drunk and everything. He slowly gets closer to her and kisses her. Soon, they start making love. Joe, who was watching all of this happen through the window, is stalking Benji's profile. He seems to be a rich kid with a lot of questionable business plans. After making love, Benji leaves Beck's place, saying he has to go to the office now. Joe knows Beck was not happy with their intimate session, so after Benji left, she is seen on the bed pleasuring herself. Joe imagines himself standing in front of her and then making love to her. But he has to come back to reality when the door of the apartment where he was standing opens, and an elderly woman comes out. To not look suspicious, Joe helps the woman with her luggage and even manages to get her a taxi. The scene changes to Joe coming back to his apartment, and Paco is sitting in front of his door. The sound of Claudia and Ron making love is coming from downstairs. Paco has finished the book Joe gave to him, and he requests him to take him to the bookstore so that they can grab a new book. Joe hesitates because it's late at night, but he realizes that Paco just wants to avoid those sounds. So they go to the bookstore. Joe takes him to the basement, where they store all the collectibles and rare first editions. They store them inside a glass box where a fixed temperature is always maintained. Joe is telling Paco everything, like Mr. Mooney told him when he gave him a job here. He then grabs a book for Paco, and it's from the author Quixote. He was a guy who believed in chivalry. After taking the book, they come back home. Ron was waiting for Paco outside, and he called Joe a freak and gave him a good warning to stay away from Paco. The scene cuts to Joe, who has managed an appointment to get Beck's house checked for a gas leak on a day her schedule is full. Joe manages to get inside the house, and the checking guy thinks he's Beck's boyfriend, so he doesn't question anything. After the checking guy leaves, Joe starts going through all of Beck's stuff and even pockets one of her underwear. Meanwhile, Beck is in Professor Paul's office submitting her work. She only submitted a part of the work and needs to submit the rest to get a full-time job there. But she didn't have the time to write the full work, so she requests Paul to give her some more time. And Paul suggests they discuss this in a bar over some alcohol. Not having any other option, Beck agrees. Meanwhile, Joe is still going through Beck's laptop. Beck texts her boyfriend to meet up, but he tells her he's busy. Joe sees those messages too. While Joe is doing this, like the creep he is, Beck comes back home. Joe gets in the shower and draws the curtain. Beck is talking with her mom. After she hangs up the call, she starts crying. She turns on the shower but doesn't get inside. Her friends call her to go out for the night. Beck tells them what happened and starts sobbing. She then turns off the shower from outside and leaves for the bar Greenpoint. Joe also follows her to Greenpoint. At the bar, Beck is waiting for Benji to come, but he doesn't. She gets drunk and gets on the stage to read some poems she wrote. But because she's drunk, she misses the lines, and the audience starts booing. Joe can't stand to see this happening, so he leaves and goes to the subway station. Coincidentally, Beck also arrives there. She's very drunk and glued to her phone, texting Benji. While texting, her phone drops on the track and she falls down too. The train starts running towards her, and Joe jumps into action and saves her. She falls on Joe and vomits all over him. The scene cuts to Joe managing a taxi for her. She requests him to get in too. In the cab, Joe talks about all the things he learned from stalking her, making it seem like they have a lot of similarities. Slowly, Beck starts to warm up to him. She puts her head on his shoulder. They arrive at Beck's place. Beck gives him an interesting look, like she's about to kiss him. Joe's hopes get up, but before they can do anything, Benji starts knocking on the window, and Beck tells him that Joe saved her life. Before leaving, Joe asks for Beck's contact info, but she realizes that her phone is not there. She thinks that maybe she lost it on the tracks, so Beck gives him her email. After Beck leaves, Joe pulls out her phone from his pocket. The scene cuts to Joe coming back to his apartment. He finds Paco standing outside the apartment, sobbing. He tells him how Ron got drunk and tore off the cover of the book. Joe tells him that it's okay and it's fixable. They then go to the bookstore basement, where Joe shows him the whole process and says that there's nothing in this world that's not savable. Joe grabs his hammer and starts repairing the book while teaching Paco everything. The scene cuts to Benji, who got an email from the local celebrity Jono, whose partner has been retweeting nonstop. Jeff, the celebrity, wants to try their sodas. Benji decides that he'll be the one to meet with Jeff. They set a date, and Benji goes to meet with Jeff. We then see Joe pretending to be Jeff and meeting with Benji. He takes him to an alleyway and down to the bookstore basement. Before Benji can realize anything, he hits Benji with a hammer, and he falls down unconscious. The next day, we see Beck coming to the bookstore to give a gift to Joe. She also starts flirting with him, and Joe flirts back. They then decide to meet one day to have some drinks. After Beck leaves, Joe goes to the basement to check up on Benji. Benji is now awake, and he's pleading with Joe. But Joe is stubborn in his decisions and just smiles at Benji. That's how today's episode ends. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.